Merry Christmas, everyone! Even though it's early for you all, since I actually celebrate for Christmas today and not the 25th, since I have no idea why. Since I know that in the United States, England celebrated 25th, not the 24th. Um, yeah, and I can say my Christmas was quite hectic. It's a full house, like 11 people. Yikes. My sister's kids were really, um, well, they were well behaved for the most part, but it happened that they were on each other's throats, almost. I can understand that the two youngers they were tired, especially my younger niece, what has been quite recently only had like 100 degrees fever for about a day or so, or at least a few hours. She was not well. My sister had about 100 degrees fever, and as far as I know, I never even had 100 degrees or, what in this case, 40 degrees Celsius fever at all. I more likely have around maybe it's a 90 or 95, maybe. I don't know. I can't say for certain. I don't even remember from when I was a kid if I even had around 100 degrees. What about you, though, game guy? Have you ever had the 100 degrees fever before?
A few times.
Yikes. Yeah, like I told my mom that I prefer to have a cold than the flu, which, as we both agreed, the flu is way worse. It's like, um, it's kind of like when Dashi would has would have been having COVID like twice, almost in within 2 3 weeks in a row, which is considerable a little bit strange if you ask me, but also a bit worrying. Having COVID twice in the span of like 2 to 3 weeks in a row, that is would be quite alarming if you ask me though. But at least Dashi is okay. I only had COVID once, but that was like that was like almost about 2 years by now. So, since you don't celebrate Christmas today, right? Do you?
Nope.
How do you celebrate Christmas usually?
Well, usually we go to our family's houses and celebrate Christmas with them for a few hours. And that's pretty much it.
Do
After
you eat?
opening the presents anyway.
Yeah. Do you have? Is there any other family tradition that your family do? Like say, I don't know, play
I mean,
games or what?
we kind of have a big family, so we kind of split it up.
True. You did have
If I split it
families.
up, I mean we celebrate Christmas a day early at a couple houses, which is what I'm actually doing that for. I'm going to Nana's house to celebrate Christmas because we can't do it tomorrow. So,
Yeah, your grandparents they were still alive, bro.
oh yeah,
Both sides of families.
uh, yeah. Well, my grandmothers are my dad's my dad's dad. My grandfather on his side, I think he died a while back. I don't remember when though. I think it
Yeah,
was
that's
before I was born.
yeah, that's it sucks. I mean, for my family, it's only that my mom's dad is, well, my adopted grandfather is still alive. Um, my adopted grandmother, she passed away around, I believe it was in August 2014. Um, yeah, it was pretty much that. But my mom's real parents, At least my biological grandfather passed away a couple of years ago. I don't know exactly which year, since we didn't have any contact with that part of the family for few reasons. Um, he was in his 60s, I believe. Assuming my mom assumed it is that her real mom is presumably alive still, but not sure. Like I said, we don't even have any contact with that side of family. But yeah, my dad's parents, no, they aren't around anymore. I don't even have any memories of them actually, since my dad's dad passed away when I was just really 3.5. My grandmother, my dad's mom, passed away when I was just 1.5 year old. I don't have no memories of my dad's parents at all, since, like I said, I was so young. But at least my parents had told me a lot of things about my grandparents, since that's pretty much they can actually do. And yeah, I mean, I do miss them. I wish could have spent time with them at least. I know that my grandmother was were actually a war child during the Second World War. She was sent to Denmark at one point before she was sent to Sweden. Actually, since Denmark was occupied by the Germans at the time. And then, oh, hey, Crystal.
E.
Yeah, so yeah, and that was the hence why my grandmother was actually good in speaking of my country's language. My grandfather, not as much, but he did try at least his best. I mean, my grandfather, boy, he had a long career of different jobs, and he was like a lumberjack, and he supposed to even won a first contest in that. He was a shoemaker, a farmer, he was patrol guard, and a factory worker. It was an errand boy, and like I said, he had a long career of different jobs. Um, yeah, and like I said, I never knew my parents. Even though I was alive, I was born a little time before they even before they passed away. But I don't have no memories of them. I know that my I know that they died of both actually died of cancer. I don't. I know exactly which type, but that's just sometimes it just always mix them up from person to person. But one died of leukemia or blood cancer, and the one was stomach cancer. And based upon what my dad told me about my grandfather, he was stubborn, and he actually did smoke for many years until he had this serious cough. And when he suddenly had this serious cough, it's like, nope, I'm just gonna stop smoking. And surprising enough, the very next day, he just quit, and he didn't have any of those classical withdrawal symptoms. My parents, they tried is at least twice before smoking. Uh, I'll tell you, I even remember at least one of the times where they tried, and yeesh, they were nagging, fighting each other constantly. My dad said, "I want a divorce." He later said that, but yeah, but they didn't do it all. They start smoking again afterwards. After a while, that's just great. But they hadn't even smoked since. Um, did your parents ever smoked?
Hmm?
Did your parents ever smoked? I mean,
My
when
mom
I'm
does.
done, did they?
Ma does. I don't remember Daddy ever doing it. I remember he used to I was told that he used to do weed and stuff. Amy used to smoke, but she quitted. She's been doing it for over 5 years or so.
Hmm.
My Uncle Joe does weed or something to help keep him calm or something.
Yeah, that would make sense. What about you, though, game guy? Did your parents smoke?
Let's see here. My dad never did. My mom used to, like a long time ago, but she stopped. Thank God.
Yeah.
I need my mom to keep smoking, or else she'll do the withdrawal. And she gets when she's pissed off. You have to stay away from her when she's pissed off. When she stops smoking.
Hmm. And here's one thing: if you guys would, let's say, in this like a scenario, if you guys were smoking, if I wasn't near you, or at least I find out that you were smoking and you were stopped smoking near me, I would like, I would stand like say 10 feet from you because it's like I don't. It's not I can't. It's not like I'm allergic or anything to the smoker thing, but it's just
You don't like the smell of it. It's just you don't like the
Yeah.
smell. I don't like either
Yeah.
to deal with it because of my
Yeah.
Exactly.
needs that my
Yeah,
mom just
I
need
have
to
heard-
we just need her to do it now. She wants to stop doing it because of her lungs up, so she'll stop coughing. Hopefully,
yeah,
since she
it's
still
just like
has
that.
just like
Yeah.
coughing tendency sometimes from when she
Mhm.
was sick.
Yeah,
She wants
I
to do it,
never.
but right now, no, not in the winter when it comes to when she gets pissed off. What she has to do with me and the brat.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, even for myself, I couldn't stand the smell of it. And even though my parents, it is one time when they tried to stop smoking, I took my mom's cigarettes and I broke them in half and flushed them in the toilet. I'll tell you, when my dad found out, he was pissed. And I don't blame him though, but they. Smoking is a strong addiction. I I
My
actually
mom can
tried to.
stop. My mom can stop. It's just I don't want her to right now because when she gets pissed off, it's like scary. You want to stay away, right, Chunga? When
Mhm.
when she stops smoking,
Yeah,
when she gets pissed off.
I tried to smoke once, only one time, but
Well, I don't like it because of the smell, and I don't like the nicotine. I'll do vape once in
no,
a while, but I can't find one for my vapes.
yeah,
But
true. I mean,
that's only for the scent, that because it
oh,
smells better than it does with cigarettes
yeah,
and stuff.
I mean, yeah. And to me though, I wasn't forced. There was there were at the time I was like 13, 14. Our our bottom floor neighbors at the time actually I think what they were 4 to 5 kids total, which the oldest were kind of being only a few years older than me. The youngest were kind of being like what 1 or 2 years old, and
Oh yeah,
they actually made their younger brother smoke. Like I took in one inhale. You are supposed to exhale it, but yeah, I didn't know exactly how to do this. Like I said, that was my first time, and I swallowed the smoke. Oh, that was disgusting. Luckily
sweet
though,
daddy, sweet daddy.
uh, but luckily though, the flavor vanished when I took a glass of water when I came home. Sheesh. It was for that.
Sweet
And
daddy.
yeah.
The Brad said he's gonna wake me up at 5 in the morning and come over and wake me up at 5 in the morning tomorrow.
Yikes.
I don't know why he wants to do it so fucking early, but he will.
Mm.
I'm talking to them about how the Brad wants to wake us up at 5 in the morning. If you stand up in conversations, I'll just start sitting on you again. He's a brat! Whatever!
Wow. What the heck is happening?
Assuming it's her mom or something that's screaming for her in the background. I don't
Yes.
know.
He's running to throw out my chair if I don't start calling him Ian, which he's a brat.
Brony Dreamer, Do your family celebrate Christmas by any chance?
We're gonna type it.
Yeah, if you can talk, you can type in a private chat or in the comments if your family's. Oh,
And he
oh.
left. He's stalking
Yeah.
us.
What?
I'm talking to you, woman. I'm gonna sit on you.
Wow.
How could you even sit on her?
It's called sitting her lap while she's in the recliner. It's squish her to death.
Oh, dude, are you really?
I have sat on her before. She's even laid on me earlier. Or tried to.
You know what Game Guy said on Discord? Cody,
What?
Malachi, Bullriser, get your hobo asses into the stream.
Hey,
Oh
Rebecca,
my.
are you on crack today?
No,
Apparently is.
Are you sure?
I'm high on the Christmas spirit. I'm sorry.
There's something wrong with your sanity today.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it. I barely got any sleep last night. That might be why.
probably.
I went to bed early because the power Wi-Fi went up because we had a snow blizzard here.
Oh,
I took out our
yeah.
Wi-Fi. The data kept
Listen,
going
only
in and
mean
when
one
I had
thing.
tried having it on.
The return of Tired Guy.
Potato.
Okay. I had to ask you, both of you, since this is cannot be involved Broner Dreamer, since this didn't happen in his country at the time. How much did this bad snowstorm weather affected you guys?
Well, it was the wind was so bad we couldn't go up. No, people were being called off. Like people were only allowed to be up for going home or something. Only ones that were to be out were the cops.
Wow.
Not even
Well,
even the ones were to be called back. That was last night.
Yeah.
Well,
Honestly,
last night I didn't get any
Things were
snow.
shutting
All I got
down.
was like,
School buses were being shut down and everything.
yeah. I mean, I know.
And that was
I
over
saw.
here last night. How bad it was being windy and snowing and blizzard and fucking
Oh
cold. And this morning it was 1 degree.
yeah. Ooh.
And
Yeah.
then
I mean, I.
a little bit earlier, and only like a couple hours ago, it went up to 10 degrees.
Oof. Well, I
And
actually
it's like
saw.
17 tomorrow.
Yeah, I even saw on the news only about like what almost 2 days ago what the storm was on this highest peak at the time.
Yeah,
There was,
we were. Yeah, from what Matt told me, it was 2. We were in the middle, in between 2.
yeah, at least for from what I told us over 200 flights was canceled. I mean, there are
Buffalo was
first of all,
canceled. Rochester was closed off.
because first of all, if an airline was supposed to even allow the planes to fly jumbo jets in that weather, they will have lost their minds. There is no more insane. There is no sane. Okay, rephrasing it. There is no common sense person
I
that
know.
will send up.
I know.
There is no common sense person who will send up a jumbo jet or a passenger plane in that type of weather with, like, say, over 100 or 200 passengers. With the small, even just a big risk the plane could just crash. No, there's no way for anyone. Even a big passenger planes, like there's like, say, big as a football field size, or even a small plane that is just like maybe as 2 or 4 people. There is no planes or even helicopters that can. I don't get it. That can say that.
Then take out the chair. Give me the chair. Use the box. I hate you. Mommy, I will sit on you if you don't stop threatening with my chair. You kept trying to take it outside.
Whoa.
meanwhile, yeah. So last night it didn't actually like snow or anything. It didn't like snow or like it wasn't too bad last night. Actually, that's a lie. There was a giant fucking thunderstorm. That's what happened with me.
Yeah, but even though there's lightning in the winter, um, people may think that is common.
It's not.
No, it's rare. It is uncommon for it to happen, but it can happen. But it's not like it's not that common. In okay, okay. Throughout my 32 years of life on this planet, I had never seen a lightning storm in the winter. I had never done that. And in fact, I'm not even aware if there's even has happened in Sweden during my lifetime. And like I said, I had never seen any. The only time when I seen a lightning storm was in the summer, fall, or in the spring, but never in the winter. If that do happen, it is a rare occasions. Okay, probably the only place that may not even happen is like in the South Pole, which is a constant winter, like 24/7, 365 days or 366 days when it's a leap year. But yeah, so like um my girlfriend actually lives in Michigan State, and well, let's say she were um she was a little bit afraid if she would lose power. I don't know if it happened though, but I did actually ask her if that would happen if she and her mom has any sort of I don't know supplies for say lights. But there's one thing that they can have: light candles, because they have like what 5 or 6
Oh,
cats
bye, Crystal.
and oh yeah, Black Crystal. Um, yeah, I mean she can't have the word that little amount of cats, which understandable. But they do have this battery lanterns and other flashlights, which is a good thing to have. I mean, even if you should always have some sort of emergency kit if it happens in a bad storm. Even if you say if your house were is located high hill where snow rivers lakes can flood your house, but even if you lose power, you should have always some sort of emergency power, like like a flashlights, matches, candles, just in case if something would happen. Or like the hospital has. Hospitals always have a backup power generator, but it usually is diesel or gasoline power. Especially which is a good thing because certain big hospitals which has ICU, especially if there's a patient that requires those respirators in order to breathe, if the machines and the blasters just turns off, and it means they cannot breathe anymore. And of course, those generators usually last for I would say maybe 10, 15 hours or more to depend on how much fuel they have, and of course, and also how long the storm will last. Some storms can last what a few hours, maybe a day, or even an entire night. Um, so yeah, the best is always to have any sort of emergency kits at home. I mean, just for in if it happen emergency. If there's in the winter, if you live in on the more in the suburbs or even in the city where you have your own fireplace, that's also a good thing. Make sure your family has easy access to firewood so you can use the fireplace to warm up the house or it is the room you are. Because the blackouts is they are hard to predict how long they can be out. They can be a few minutes, it can be a few hours, it can be a whole day, or in some worst case, they can be out for like in a couple of days. It depends on how bad the storm is, or yeah, like that. So it's hard to say. So it's always the best to have. If you have a fireplace, always make sure you have enough supplies of firewood, either indoor in the house or in a shed that you can easily have access to, or if you have a big shed and that you can probably cut off some more firewood in case if that happens. So if you have a fireplace, make sure you have enough firewood to last out the entire night or maybe a couple of days to make sure that you have your house or even a cabin warm enough to make sure that you can survive out wait out the storm, and that you also have uh like I said, emergency kits like candles, lights, flashlights, and even batteries, and even perhaps even food supplies that can like dry food, like one of those energy bars, something like that. That would not necessarily require being in a freezer or anything. Like say bread or something like that. Just always have some sort of emergency. I know that like in uh, India, Pakistan, or those countries are basically involved in that part of the world, and even Indonesia, I know that usually has a lot of typhoons, which is kind of hurricanes. Sometimes people who live on the countryside, like say in Indonesia, they can have blackouts. I know days. It depends how bad the storm is, and it's always had a good thing to have some. Always have some supplies in at home just in case if something would happen. Oh, hey, got it.
Hey, Cody.
So, Mr. Cody the Dragon, how you been doing? Almost ready for Christmas. Yeah, it's not to be in the breaking news, but I already celebrate Christmas. We don't celebrate the 25th, always the 24th. I don't even know why. I even I bother not even didn't even care, to be honest. And I am beat. I mean, I'm literally tired. I may not sound tired, but I am. Not because of the Christmas food and all that. Nope. It's um, it's because my sister and her 5 kids was here. Like, boy, you were really tired if you had that many kids over here, especially if they were fighting against each other. Oh boy. Yeah. Um. Okay. What do you guys? But yeah. Tired guy. What do you ask? What do you wish for Christmas?
Nothing really.
New games, perhaps.
There are no new games.
Hmm.
Well, by that I mean any new games that I'm interested in.
Yeah, or maybe if you, or maybe there's some older games that you even had yet.
Mm. By the way, how long's the stream gonna be?
I don't know.
Because
Probably an hour and a half. Um.
I finally got a concrete answer of when I'm going to my mom's because we're
Oh.
going there before we go to Nana's. We're going at 4:15, which is in an hour. So
Yeah, I'll probably do it in an hour or maybe an hour and a half. It depends. Um.
hour
Yeah.
15.
So you wish for the new Pokemon games, a burger shirt? Hmm. Not bad choice.
That burger shirt
Um.
is very specific.
Yeah. Depends on like what Burger King, McDonald's, or even a shirt with a burger on it.
Maybe he just likes burgers. Who knows?
Well, can you blame though? Burgers is a good food.
It's a shirt that tastes like a burger.
Oh, dude, how about
Okay,
this?
how kick ass would that be? That would be kind of awesome.
Okay. How about this? You know there is actually clothes that's edible. You can actually eat certain clothes.
Is there really?
Mm-hmm.
That's
At least I've heard of.
awesome.
Let's say those type of clothes is I think it's like lingerie that women has. I don't know for certain. Like I said, I don't know. Don't know. Um, yeah. He even wished that the next chapter G5 will start in January, hoping for Hitch to ship it soon. That's might be a little bit too soon to know though. I mean, I have no idea when the next episode of chapter 3 will even start, but it's assuming at least around January, I believe at least. Cody, what is your opinion about that Ash is gonna be officially retired from the new star from the Pokemon games? Mm-hmm. Yeah, even like Crystal who was here earlier. She was like, um, she said, um, um, I asked her, and she said like, I don't like it. You grew up with him as a main character, and that's true. And having Ash being replaced by a new characters this case, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with um a mixed feelings with that. And I did tell Crystal there's um there is actually a lot of mixed feelings within the game. The fandom that's Ash is no longer going to be the main character. But if using from another franchise like MLP, like say MLP G4, when the Hasbro announced back in 2019 that they are decided to end that generation to start a new one, and that it's going to be when it's going to be CGI version. I know there were a lot of mixed feelings within the fandom, like how could Hasbro decide to end one good series that has been on for almost part of a decade and had a lot of views, a lot of great fandom, and I can understand that feelings when even when the first trailer, the first movie came out, um, when G5 came out, their first designs of the main fight, I can understood there were a lot of feelings that mixed feelings for uh, that probably they excuse my language, but they were like this is gonna be a crappy show, but it turned it out because when the first movie A New Generation came out, it had a great positive response from critics, fans out there. Even probably even more response as the 2017 movie. So yeah, and especially now we're like in a Pokemon franchise. Like I told Game Guy before they start when I started stream that Ash has always been how has been the main character for the past, well, by next year it's gonna be the like 26 years mark for him. He had been the main leader, main character since 1997 until 2023. But Ash has always been the main character, and now decided just to replace him with a new characters. Yeah, I was like, I was really surprised. I mean, considering at least for those past almost 30 years, there has been like what, one or almost like 2 generations had been growing up that's involved, have fallen in love with Pokemon. I can say one thing: my oldest nephew is a fan of Pokemon, and he's like what, 7, 8 years old. I was almost in his age when Pokemon came out. I was around 7, 8 years old when Pokemon first came out as originally. Um, so yeah, I was like, okay, this might be something. But when they decided to replacing Ash as main character with Liko and as a girl and Roy as the main character, boy character from Paldea, not a bad choice though. I mean, based on that, they only had one main character each series that was in each generation. Even though for one thing, when Ash was supposed when they had released the anime Pokemon Generation 8 series, I was like, finally we're going to see Ash in Galar region, but yeah, right. That barely happened. Okay, first, he was mainly in Kanto, but he did went to Galar region a couple of times throughout this that Journey series and Master Journey series. But they even went to those other regions that he had been to. Based on the original series, he was only in Kanto. But the other series of each other generation, like Kalos, Sinon, Johto, he always were in those. When he was in Aloha, sure, he went to Kanto, but there were only for like what, 2 to 3 episodes, which not even much as accounting for, but still. And when they released Generation 9, I was like, okay, a new generation, a new opportunity, new possibility that Ash will go to Paldea region. Yeah, I was like, nope, that's not happening now. That Pokemon Company decide, nope, we're retiring Ash for almost 30 years. Like, okay, you gotta make that big announcement, and yeah, and yeah, Cody, that's true. Hoping that Ash could still be a Pokemon Master. Like I told a few friends that my hope. I actually read that's going to be at least 11 more final episodes by next year with Ash, and I was hoping that in the last of those episodes that they are showing us Ash as a young adult, that he had fulfilled his dream to be a Pokemon Master. Even on despite we don't even know what exactly the Pokemon Master title is. It's like we don't even know if if it's like Pokemon Champion or if you is like equal to as those Elite Four. Yeah, but still, it would have been a happy ending to see us an epic, amazing ending to see Ash older and have fulfilled his dream. Now that Ash is going to be replaced by 2 new characters, I was like, I'm still shocked. And you asked about the Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Um, yeah, I may have to be bursting your hope on that though, Cody. Here's the thing: the movie itself was released 2019. Let's see, come on. Uh, the movie was, like I said, was released 2019, and just 4 months before the movie actually had its premiere, the company had announced they were working on a sequel. 4 months before the first movie was even had world premiere, and since like that is like almost 3 years since the movie was had official runtime or was released, and like it doesn't even take almost 2 to 3 years to work on a live action movie like that. usually they take maybe 6 months or maybe a year or so. But here, here is what I found out of. Uh, okay, in January 2019, months ahead of the release of Detective Pikachu, Legendary Entertainment announced a sequel was already in development, and however, on May 3rd, 2021, Smith said on the sequel, quote, I think we have just a kind of a bury our hopes. I don't think it's gonna happen. I really hope so though. End quote. But then in October 2022, during an Instagram live feed, Catherine Newton had also expressed interest in a sequel, but unsure about its future. So we don't even know if it's gonna be a sequel to Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Even though back in like just before the first movie was released, they were working on the development of the sequel. But now, turns out the sequel to Detective Pikachu may not even happen. But it is. But those who work behind it, they're still hopeful the movie could still happen. But right now, I don't know. But I don't say that the producers had put that idea on the shelf indefinitely, which the sequel to Pikachu Detective might happen, but right now there's no signs of it's going to happen right at the moment. But it's like, who knows? And who knows? The script may already be done for that movie, and that's possibility though, at least. Um, but here's another thing that we know that Ash is now officially going to be retired by next year. My hope, even though that we know that he's going to be replaced by a female and a male characters as main characters, I'm hoping that Ash could make some appearance in the new series as maybe a guest character or perhaps even a flashback. Like, say, um, where Ligo and Roy could have been childhood friends, and they're talking about the past, previous bad. If you ever heard about this great trainer named Ash Ketchum from Kanto region, and they could probably talk about him and be seeing a flashback of Ash fighting against another trainer, or who knows? Maybe they're showing us like a past old news records of Ash in perhaps in Paldea region fighting against to be his continual to be Pokemon Master. Oh, you know what? How about this idea? What if, what if that Roy actually is who it's gonna be like? I believe he's gonna be like 10 years old, like Antwerp when he left Paddletown. What if that Roy is watching an old news record, or maybe is watching the news?
Okay, real quick. It's
Yeah,
weird you saying Roy and not talking about my Roy.
no, I'm talking about the
You know what I
Pokemon
mean?
Roy. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I keep thinking you're talking about Roy as in my brother Roy.
Yeah, but I understand what you mean though.
Ay.
Yeah, but basically, what if that Roy actually is watching the news and that he is actually seeing Ash is fighting against another trainer in other perhaps in Paldea or in Galar Pokemon League. It could either be a recent event or maybe a past battle, but we don't know. But I mean, since back in the original TV series when Ash, when he was given the license to be a Pokemon trainer, he was watching a Pokemon match on TV. So having that idea in the new region, like say that Roy is watching a Pokemon battle, if it's is either Ash for those players, trainers, or that inspired him the same thing. I don't know. And having Pikachu finally evolved to Raichu, yeah, I really doubt that's gonna happen. Um, we know that in the most recent Pokemon series, Journey, we actually seen that Pikachu as a Pichu, the first step of its evolution. When we're seeing how it evolves to Pikachu, that was before he was in the possession of Professor Oak, and that um, well, the only way for Pikachu to evolve to a Raichu is that he needs a Thunderstone. And in fact, Ash did actually was in a possession of a Thunderstone in the original series when he was fighting against Lieutenant Surge Raichu. But he actually had offered. He didn't like demand it, but he was like asking Pikachu if he wanted to evolve to Raichu, that he could actually have a better chance to fight against him. But Pikachu refused. And even if he did evolve him to Raichu, some of the moves and attacks that Pikachu is being using by now, like Iron Tail, he will lose some of those abilities, those moves, eventually. And I don't even think that Ash will even want to evolve his Pikachu. Since Pikachu didn't want to be evolved from the original series, why would he even try to again to convince his Pikachu to want to evolve? I don't think that he even would. Honestly though, okay, first, even if he did, the question is, how would the fans out there react when they find out that Ash actually did evolve Pikachu to a Raichu? Uh, okay, here's the question though. Even if it did, the question is which Raichu would he even consider to have? The Cantonian, or the Alolan regions? Since the traditional Raichu is electric, but the Alolan version is electric psychic. Yeah, so that's a question though. But the only if you want to have this the Alolan variant of uh a Raichu, he needs to go to all the way to a lower region with a Thunderstone in order to do so. Since that is apparently the hat only can happen. But like I said, if Pikachu would be evolved to a Raichu, some of the most traditional, most icon movements, the attack forms that he has, like Iron Tail, he will lose this to even make that ability that move. Quick attack still would happen, but Iron Tail, no, he will lose that ability definitely. So I would say even if Ash would eventually would ask his best friend again, but at the same time, I don't think he actually would. But here's another thing: the bond between Ash and Pikachu is inseparable. It's an unbreakable bond. I can say this for example. When Ash had arrived to Gallows region, where he met Bonnie and Clemens, um, after that Ash had helped to free the Garchomps uh, from the Team Rocket Trio's control. Afterwards, Pikachu was approaching During the one that he did that, the part of the building collapsed underneath him, and they were in the top of the tower of that the time where they were in the town. And that tower, um, I don't know exactly how tall it could have been, but I was assuming maybe as 4, 5 floors tall. And Pikachu was falling, and you know what Dash did? He he had not only he could and had used his Pokeball in order to save Pikachu. But here's the thing: Pikachu refused to even enter his own Pokeball. No matter what it happens, it could have saved him from being falling, but Ash never did. And he knew that Pikachu hates to be in a Pokeball. He preferred to be out the whole time. So Ash, he literally jumps out of the edge from the tower and diving downwards, falling downwards, and grabbing at Pikachu, knowing, knowing that if he hit the ground, he would be dead. But he never even hit the ground because a Blaziken, a Mega evolved Blaziken, saved Ash and Pikachu. And Gallows region is the only known region that we know where Mega forms actually happened. But seeing the bond between Ash and Pikachu, how Pikachu was falling from the tower and how Ash was willing, just literally just jumped out of the edge of the tower, falling downwards in order to save his best friend. To see that commitment, the bond they had, I don't think he even saw him as his Pokemon. He saw him as his true best friend. Considering how much they have been through together, travel from Kanto, Johto, all the other regions, how many Pokemon battles they have been traveling for, how many bad guys they have been fighting against. Like against Mewtwo, like Team Rocket so multiple times. Seeing the bond between them, it's almost like brothers almost. They had this unbreakable bond. And I don't know if Ash would even consider to evolve him to a Raichu. And like I said, some of those movements, the attack pattern that he has as a Pikachu would eventually be lost. As I mean, Volt Tackle, Thunder Shock, Quick Attack would still be accessed as a Raichu. But an Iron Tail, that is a move that he will lose. Based on the tail of a Raichu and a Pikachu, it's not the same. But honestly, though, I don't believe that Ash would even consider once again to even evolve. But if it happened, well, it would have been, of course, up to both Ash and Pikachu, especially Pikachu, if he wanted to do that. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, first of all, if the only ones I could even talk about this is using you, Cody, probably Burn Dreamer, and maybe Crystal and some others. But Tire Guy or Game Guy is one of the people is not what I would really consider to talk about since he is not a Pokemon fan at all.
Yeah, I haven't even been paying attention.
Yeah, well, basically, he asked me if, well, first of all, the Cody, not everyone is not much a Pokemon fan or anime fan as Game Guy is.
I didn't grow up on it. I grew up on Mario.
Exactly. And to be fair, though,
Besides, why would it matter? It's not like I'm the worst person
True.
for not enjoying a game you like.
true. And even like this, Cody, what if there's like, when it comes to anime, there is in fact some anime that's even I don't even like. Like say My Hero Academia. I tried to watch a couple of episodes, but nah, it wasn't really much my thing to be watching. I um I tried to watch Naruto. Nah, not one of my things either. And another of those anime which I couldn't much tolerate. But okay, I could tolerate some of them, but some of them doesn't even make sense at all. Like in like My Hero Academia, having this strange powers inserted in individual people. I was like, okay. Digimon. Well, I mean, I did literally grow up watching the original Digimon, but the others they made afterwards, not really. I mean, I saw the first movie they made, but not the new one they actually made recently, though. Yeah, okay. There, like I said, there are some animes that I never even seen, like say Attack of Titans. Never seen it and never will. Based on what I've seen of the clips from it, not one I would like to see. Um, yeah, I mean, but I'm not like saying I'm not hating, or well, I used to don't say I like hate those shows. Mm-mm. It's not like that. It's just that it's not what I prefer to be watching, honestly. And I mean, some animes are something I don't like. Some that I can like to see. Some others are I could be giving a chance to watch for sure. Um, there actually is one anime um which I was had nightmares of for about 2 days. Corpse Party, which is a Japanese anime horror series. There are only a few episodes, but um, Corpse Party is well, let's say there's about a group of teenagers, high school students, that's making this time boss ritual, but was that which one of them found online on a sort of website. Um, if you do that, you will be friends forever. Well, but the thing that they didn't know, they actually end up in sort of a pocket dimension of a small, uh, of a middle school where it was haunted by a little girl that's supposed to be the murderer. Um, basically, what happened in I can only make a brief mentioning that that dimension of the school was actually based on a real school, but this event caused this pocket dimension to form, where if anyone enters there, they will die eventually. Um, it turns out that little girl's mother was dating the school's principal, and the mother, while she didn't want to be much involved with this principal anymore, and he pushed her off the stairs, um, and she broke her neck, and he was terrified because, but he didn't know at the time that her daughter did saw it happen. So he killed her and blamed the school's janitor for that. Um, but yeah, that was personally as it scared me for 2 days. Oh, you know, the the last Airbender. Okay, that's it's not like a Japanese anime, but American anime was good. Uh, Legend of Korra. Mm, I would say 8 of 10. That's a good show. It just and based on the live action Avatar movie they made, oh boy, that one was complete trash. Okay, special effects were good, but other than that, the movie was complete trash.
Hmm. You count the you think the hold the phone. You think the Last Airbender had good effects?
The live action movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. First, the only thing that was I was impressed were the special effects. Okay, that was the only things that was.
Immediately, what comes to mind for special effects is the scene where they had six airbenders, not
Yeah.
five.
Okay. First, yeah, I
Not,
admit,
not
even
airbenders,
though the
rockbenders, earthbenders, and they're doing their swan dance, and then a tiny pebble comes up, and they just eh, they don't even throw it. They just like levitate it over to
yeah.
them and just knock
Okay.
out. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Still, but even though that is true, but at least the special effects were how they actually it seems to be the birds were real. Okay, that was kind of cool though. I mean, it's how this just based on how okay, just based on how the special effects has that concept has evolved throughout the years. Okay, when it first in originally, they were probably not even that good. But since that the Avatar: The Last Airbender live action, they were actually okay. That special effects that showed us how far enough and how most realistic it appeared to be. I mean, okay, I admit some of the battle the when they the bending like it was that was cool enough, but the movie itself was not even good enough. They were originally planning to make three movies, but after the first one had such bad press and bad um it's not was not good because after the first movie was such bad response, bad reviews, they decided to cancel both the other movies even before they had even worked on it. And now there's going to be a live action series based on the first same characters from the first movie on Netflix. But the thing is, even they are working on it, they had even set on an actual release date on that Netflix Avatar series. And this was shocking to me though that the same producers of Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra were actually working along with the Netflix Avatar project together, but they left it because they didn't see the eye to eye how does the other producers thought about this. They didn't seem to be following um, the same nature, the same um, mindsets they had for it. So yeah, but I'm kind of curious to see how that the new Netflix Avatar will even be like. If it's supposed to be the same characters from the first movie, um, yeah, I was like, okay, I am kind of in curious to see how it will turn out. Just been saying that far. Um, okay, let's focus on other things. How about you guys? How would you guys react if they announced that? What if they decide to um, make a reboot of Gravity Falls as either CGI or live action? But it's going to be exactly as the same in the original series, but as either CGI version or as live action. How would you
Well, I
even
would
feel about
like
that?
one better than the other. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I can give you one example because this has happened when in the first Pokemon movie, when Ash and the others meets Mewtwo for the very first time, they actually made a movie of that one as CGI. but they actually added exactly as the original movie, but as CGI versions were exactly identical. Only except was just like CGI. And I saw the movie and it was surprising exactly identical. So if they were to decide to make a reboot of say Gravity Falls, but exactly as the original but as CGI, or if they made a live action movie or a live action of it. But if they would make a CGI or a live action of the Gravity Falls, it would eventually may even involve some CGI in it, includes when it comes to Bill. I mean, first, since like Lady and Tramp, the live action movie, turns out it was not only a live action but also live action slash CGI combination. So if they decide to make the Gravity Falls as live action, which involved some creatures, some scenes with that would require a CGI, like say Bill or some other gnomes, I wouldn't be much as I wouldn't be much against idea. Think about it. I mean, they made live action movies of Loud House, so why not if they would make a live action reboot of, or even CGI, or especially if they would make a live action of Gravity Falls. I mean, the idea is actually quite interesting. I mean, okay, have you ever seen the Smurfs by any chance?
Oh god, I hated that movie.
Well, did you even saw the original show, the cartoon version?
Only a little bit of it. Even I know it's better than the live action movie, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's the thing. The original series was a cartoon back in the 90s. It was quite amazing good though. But then, shocking enough, only a few years ago, or some years ago, announcement of the Smurfs live action slash CGI version. I actually saw the first movie when they end up in New York. I was like, um, yeah, that was quite interesting concept. And then they actually made this as a show on Nickelodeon, I believe it was the Smurfs show. I was like, mm, it's kind of were. Um, it's yeah. Even though I never saw the actual show itself, but I didn't see much of the second movie or the third movie. Well, I did see some of the second movie. The first live action SpongeBob movie. Oh, that was complete. That was a complete disaster, and I didn't like it at all. I mean, and having when they in the sequel, or at least the second movie they made, having King Neptune. No wait, that having the this pirate looking for something. I don't know what was happened. Uh, that the last he needed was the secret recipe of Krabby Patties. I was like, and how those guys end up on the surface as like superheroes? I was like, oh Jesus, how that was oh, to me it was not even good at all. Seriously. Okay, If that was like if they had made those movies as the original series, as cartoon versions, okay, that would have been more perfectly fine. But CGI's versions of SpongeBob and his friends as superheroes included Plankton. I was like, are you kidding me? And with that, I refused to even watch the movie. And if anyone even tried to ask me to watch it, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna watch that. That is a disaster movie. Ooh. Okay. Have you seen Garfield by any chance?
Um, it's been a while, but a while back, yeah.
Have you seen the first live action movie they made of him?
Oh Christ! Don't get me started.
Yeah. And the second one, that when he ended up in London as being mistaken as the royal cat, I was like, I saw only a few scenes of that movie online. I was like, nope, I'm not watching that one. Mm-mm. Okay, okay, okay. This is a movie. I'm okay. I wouldn't be surprised if you even had either heard of this or even seen it. This actually has a sequel. Okay, the first movie came out 1995, a comedy drama, American movie. Is actually is adaptation to a 1983 The Sheep Pig book. It was actually, I think, involves. Okay, the movie is called Bay, about the pig that acts like a dog. Have you seen that movie though?
Nope.
Wow, just wow. That's is actually a good movie. Okay, um, I'm gonna make a had to mute here for a little bit.
Yeah, in case you weren't aware, I have a very strong feelings about CGI. I'll say this loud and clear because I think it's the truth. Hand drawn animation is better. It's 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 a lot smoother. It's a lot simpler, sure, but sometimes shows don't need to be all look at the scenery, look at the CGI, look at how good it looks. Maybe the maybe all the details don't matter as much as it being good. A detailed show doesn't have to be good. It could be bad and be detailed. Immediately what comes to mind is what's a CGI show I can come up with that's bad that's also CGI. Wow, a lot more stuff came to my mind than I thought it would. Immediately what comes to mind is most of the Disney Junior shit, like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is something that comes to mind. It's not a it's not a great show. It's better than Caillou, but that's kind of a low bar to go past. So it's like whatever. Cody Swedish isn't even well, he is, but he's muted right now. This is just what I'm talking about because it's just something that bothers me. So if you don't mind, I'm just gonna vent about this for a minute. Um, that's the first thing that comes to mind, and it's detailed. It's really well done. It's the animation's good, but it's a good example of a bad show that looks good but is still bad. Like its whole directive is kids, which I guess in that case, I guess it's doing its job. But maybe that job should be taken a little bit more seriously than it is. If that makes sense.
I'm back.
Right.
Yeah. Before we can talk about the next chapter of G5, you guys have probably seen how the Grinch stole Christmas, right? With Jim Carrey.
I was gonna say which one, but
The
yeah,
2001.
I saw that one.
Uh, what do you think about it?
It's hot garbage.
You know, Jim Carrey was not the original option for the actor for the Grinch.
Really, I did not know that.
Apparently, it says here on uh, the Grinch, a bad-tempered, vicious, misanthropomorphic, green-furred creature who despises Christmas and of whose will. Before Carrey was cast the Grinch, Jack Nicholson, Robin Williams, Dustin Hoffman, Tom Hanks, Tim Curry, and Eddie Murphy were all considered as the role of Jim as the
Oh
Grinch.
come on! Any of those actors would have been better.
Hmm? I may probably have to say,
Yeah. Well, looks like my time is up because I have to go.
oh, will you be back, Ro?
Uh, if I'm
Probably
being
not.
honest, probably not. No.
Yeah, it's okay though.
Actually, wait. Phone edition. Guess what? You're gonna get used.
No, you're not.
What do you mean? No, I'm not.
You're packing up and you're done for the day on the.
Never mind. I guess I'm not coming back. Cool. Maybe it's a good thing I hate phone edition. I hate StreamYard phone edition. Well, I might be on Discord. I'm not sure though.
Okay, dude. First of all, Dash is said on Discord, "Game guy, you took ho ho way too far. You have the right. You not. They have a right not to join them. Let them spend time with their family on this day."
Yeah.
He thought that you demand them to show up, but no. Um, yeah. But it's okay if you can't join in, though, dude. If even not the phone edition or not.
Yeah.
The next,
I don't think I'm gonna be able to come back.
yeah, that's okay though.
So maybe I'll see you later on Discord.
Yep. So, Cody, the next chapter of G3, um, here's the thing.
All right, see you guys around.
Yeah, see ya.
Merry Christmas.
See ya.
No, wait.
Merry
Happy-
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. All right, see you guys.
See ya. And the next chapter of G5, yeah, there is a lot of things about that one we don't even know of. Like, how many, it's like, I know there's gonna be, it was supposed to be 24 episodes entirely, and they had only like 8, so there was like 16, or was it 16 or 14 more episodes left of the series? I'm actually intrigued to see how, or at least what the company or the producers have for in mind of the end of the first part of this season of G5. I mean, like, the question is, I mean, we don't even know if those next episode of chapter 3 will be. I mean, well, we don't even know it's going to be a chapter 4 or even a chapter 5 by the end of the first season. Considering is that there were it's going to be 4 feature movies in this. First one was about uh the first one was how it was taking place months after the first movie. The second one was the Christmas special, and the third, yeah, we don't know. But assuming it might be involving about, say, Hearts and Hoops Day, perhaps. I can't say. But chapter 5 or chapter 3 of MLOPG 5, yeah, they hadn't even revealed any much information at all what's going to happen. But presumably, this is going to be about their how the main 5 will discover uh, who this mysterious pony that Twilight tried to warn them about. She only said, "Watch out for Oak, Oak, Oak," a few times. Since she was cut off, and still wondering if that same message, or if there's going to be another recording within the crystal. Uh, I don't even know for certain about that. But the only thing I can at least imagine what's going to happen is when when they find out who Opaline is, and that Sunny is perhaps taken to Opaline's castle, where she gives her an option in order give her maybe a promise that she could turn in her to as an alicorn permanently as herself and become immortal, or maybe that she can sing this that she can probably tell yeah, that's probably it. So, Cody, that Opaline is much just jealous of Twilight's way of life and other creatures. But the fact is, she actually admitted that she doesn't even want every single pony to be united. She wants that unity gone. She wants to rule the Equestria by fear. And but even so, even if Opaline had brought Sunny to her castle and offered her a way of her being having not seems Sunny had mentioned that she doesn't even want to be as an alicorn at all. And that even if Opaline had offered her an offer, say, I can take away that your if you give me your magic, that will make that you won't have to be as an alicorn ever again. But we don't even know about that. Even though we know at least some of her motive that she wants to take the magic for herself so she can be the entire, almost like a tyrant ruler. But at the same time, I wouldn't say for certain about that. I mean, right now, we don't even know anything about what's going to be in the chapter 3 episodes, or at least how many is going to be in it. But based on how we know about of the G4, so the G5 so far, for those past episodes, and the Christmas special, the first movie, and the first feature movie they made after how the Earth Ponies got their Earth Pony magic for some reason. But here's one thing. How in the world did even Twilight even became aware of this Earth Ponies had developed magic? Their own kind of magic. Because that didn't even exist back in during her Twilight's rule. And it was like it happened just at some point way longer after her rule. I was like, how in the world she even became aware of that? Unless she saw that happened in a vision. Because Celestia, she had like in a dream that she even had this vision that um, Terek was freed from Tartarus. Assuming maybe Twilight has the same ability later on, who knows? Um, the other question, like you said, how did Twilight and her friends died? Oh, that is a good question for a topic, but yeah, we don't even know. That's a mystery about it. Knowing at least from one that I know, which gave us a good hint how old the main six were at the time. Um, we know that they were probably in their early 20s at the time, and if they were around the same age, even if there was maybe 1 year or maybe 6 months or so apart from each other, then they were probably in their late 40s to early 50s at most. And I thought you weren't even coming back in here, dude.
Well, we haven't left. Well, we haven't left yet, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Dashy's freaking out on me because of what I said on Discord. I got rid of it, but he's still upset, so that's just great.
Should expect that.
Unintentional
Um,
drama, isn't it great?
Yeah. But no,
Yeah,
Cody.
he'll get over it eventually.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah, and Cody, since we know that at least one hint that how old they were in the last episode of G4 is that Rarity had some gray in her mane and tail. And when that happens, is like when we're in our world that when we get white and gray is when we are in our early 50s to as late 50s or well around their 50s and early 60s. So based on that, I know for certain that they are in their other early 50s, maybe mid 50s. I was saying for much that. And based on that description itself, is more likely that happened. And that but then the second question is how far or how much time had passed between a G4 ending of that episode to G5. We can't say for certain about it. It's like maybe 100 or maybe it's 200 years, but we don't even know. It could be maybe as 50 years or even 100 years or more. We can't say for certain about it. Based on the title, based on that, Sunny said that dragons hasn't even been seen in Equestria for generations. And since back when Twilight was supposed to have been ruler, the dragons led and were friends among the ponykind. So based on that, it's probably had even been a few generations, and it seems like Sunny's father in a message for her in recording that blanket with her had been in her family for 10 generations, and roughly 10 generations is roughly about almost 300 years. Well, give or take in our world, but I would say maybe 200 to 300 years has passed since that happened based on that, but I can't give it much an accurate timeline. But this is only based for at least for some of the research I did. Um, and how old the main six were? Mm, yeah, that's hard to say exactly. I mean, assuming that some of them died maybe way before, say, what if Twilight was the last one to die? Unless, unless the Twilight is immortal. You may ask why, considering why she would even be immortal. Well, based on one thing that Twilight Opaline, she is she is an alicorn. Has she always been one? Nope. Turns out she was a unicorn at the time, but at some point she became an alicorn. And she stated, I believe it was in the, I believe somewhere, I don't remember exactly where, that she was immortal. And given that statement, if she was like Twilight, if she was like Twilight, turn into an alicorn,
Hey
maybe that,
guys,
yeah,
well, I'm heading out now.
all right.
Like for real. So Swedish, I'll talk to you later on Discord. Everyone
Yep.
else, I wish you a good Merry Christmas. So I'll see you guys later.
See ya. Merry
ya.
Christmas. Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas. And goodbye for now.
Yeah, so like I said, maybe Opaline, she said that she is immortal. Assuming that if since Twilight was turning into an alicorn, perhaps she is the alicorn that which also makes her immortal. So if that's true, that would make possibly that Twilight is still alive in G5. But the main question is, where is she? Has she been turned into? Is she still around traveling, or if she is living like a hermit, or almost? What if that after the magic was gone? Well, turn to stone. That's probably an option. Or, or, how about this? After that, what if the magic did disappear time of her ruling, and that she was devastated to see how the magic was gone, just poof. What if she thinks and believes that she had failed her duty as the ruler to keep and maintain peace? What if she just went exile? What if she went someplace to live for exile? It's like I can give one example. Like back in Star Wars Episode 7, Force Awakens. We know that Luke, after several years after the Galactic Empire fell, he traveled around in the galaxy for to find more Jedi lores, Jedi items, books, and all that in a way to restore to build the new order. And that he went to a planet where he built and he trained new generation after that his nephew Ben Solo killed all the other survivors, and that Luke believed that he actually failed his the duty to in order to that he failed to restore the Jedi Order, and that meant that he couldn't bear to do this again, so he went to self-exile to Acto, the planet where he ended up on. So, like in an example that when if Twilight find out realized that now the magic is gone, she have failed her duty as the ruler to maintain peace. If she believes that she couldn't maintain the peace and that she had failed, what if she decides to go to exile? Not meaning that she's leaving the entire uh, question entirely, but what if she just go to one place to just live, exile, far away from any others? That makes sense. Like say Discord, he almost went like in exile after the magic disappeared. After that Fluttershy passed away at some point, he went to live under the ruins of Canterlot in the catacombs or the caves. So in a way, he went exile. And it's just that. It's possible that even so, if Twilight is still alive, assuming if she is, like say, since Opaline said that she is immortal, she wasn't even born as an alicorn. She was actually a unicorn, but turned into an alicorn at some point. How we don't even know. If Twilight turned into an alicorn, we don't even know. And assuming it's that, and if she stated herself that she is immortal, if that's true, that would mean that Twilight is immortal herself. If she is immortal, then assuming if she is still alive is somewhere in Equestria, and she believed that she had failed her duty to maintain peace and about friendship in Equestria, despite how much she and her friends worked so hard to maintain peace between other kingdoms and all that it failed. And she decided, nope, I'm going to be in exile since I have failed my duty as the ruler, and I had failed in order to maintain the peace. And there's possibility that maybe Twilight is alive, but just have went in exile. It's possible. Like it's like in back in Star Wars. Luke tried to rebuild the Order, which he did until his nephew destroyed it for him. And he couldn't bear the burn of all that, and he's believed that he was the true failure behind that he couldn't see prevent this happening. So he went exile in order to, well, to have it prevented. It's possible that Twilight may still be alive, but just living somewhere in exile. And she perhaps even find out the magic has returned, but maybe she is waiting for the right moment to find out how the magic came back and try to find out the new, like maybe she will find out and look try to find the main five and perhaps telling them more about Opaline. Or what if that the main five would find out that Twilight is still alive, but they don't know where she could be living, and that they went through Sunny's father's records or archive of the research he had done. Maybe it contains something about Twilight's current, or perhaps even any idea where she could be found. If they find her, asking her to come back to help them in a fight against Opaline. Even if Twilight has been living as an exile for so long, she perhaps doesn't even want to anymore. And but she tells them more about Opaline from her time and perhaps give them more value information about Opaline's character, about her personality, since she probably know a lot more about Opaline than anything. Perhaps that information could be so value, maybe they could use that in a way to stop Opaline, or maybe to use that in order to convince her to embrace friendship and not to be an tyrant ruler, but perhaps become the new peaceful ruler. And at Twilight, probably being told by Sunny by later on that they had actually put Opaline as the new ruler of Equestria, but as a peaceful blood one, as Twilight were. That would actually not be a good ending of the first season. And if the next season was going to happen, well, it's difficult to say for certain. I mean, what if they managed to convince her to embrace friendship and became reformed, and she became the next ruler of Equestria? But I mean, that would have been not been a bad ending of the first season. And the second season, who knows? Maybe another bad guy from a faraway land, perhaps like Tyrek, or maybe something else, is threatening Equestria in the future. like an ancient evil that I say, what if Sombra somehow had came back to life and he is threatening to wipe out, or maybe not wipe out, but try forcing, no, not forcing, but what if Sombra do return in G5 and seeks revenge in order to take over the kingdom, not only Crystal Empire, but the entire Equestria Kingdom? That would have been a very interesting concept idea. Maybe not Sombra, but what if there was someone else, some of the bad guys from the G3, or perhaps G4, or perhaps even a brand new G5 character. But I would be very much impressed if they could have somehow brought maybe Grugar in back in G5. Since technically he wasn't even back in G4, that was since it was Discord in disguise as Grugar. It just really surprised me when when I saw Grugar in G4. Oh boy, this is gonna be an epic series this season. But what, Discord was Grugar the whole time? Oh boy, oh boy. Fans like, Discord, what the world are you even doing? Or like, what? Why, Discord? Why do you prop back those little big bale of villains in order to that Twilight would embrace her more confident that she could be in the next ruler? Okay, the idea of her and to boost her self confidence. Okay, nice touch, but in doing that, by bringing back some of the bad guys they fought in the past, ooh, may not be a good idea. No, that would have been quite serious. Hmm. But in the end, they managed to at least to do so. But I'm curious to see how the next generation's chapter 3 of G5 will turn out. Who knows what will happen? Might even be way worse scenarios of, I mean, who knows? It might even be a lot. Then I mean a lot of information, or many speculations, might be a lot of debating. Oh, yeah, that's gonna happen. And like someone else, nope, that's gonna happen. Well, who knows? We have no idea. But at least one thing I certainly believe is gonna happen, that the main five will find out about Opal. For certain of that. Since Twilight tried to warn them about some certain pony and that she might be back, but even though they didn't hear her name, only like Twilight warned them of something about Oak. Oh, watch out for Oak. But never, since it was static in that. Who knows? But I'm certain that they will find out about Opal. They probably would use her Sunny's father's research in a way to find out more about who this Opaline is and why she's having this issue about dividing the country, the kingdom once again, and what's her actual motive behind it. And if Misty finds out that they know about Opaline and who she is, she might inform and warning Opaline about this. Unless, what if that they managed to find out more information about Opalines on the books that her father, Sunny's father, Argyle, had made for her? And it's possible that may contain some very much value information about Opaline. It considering that is possible. And if Misty finds out that and maybe spying on the May 5, and she's hearing about the information that perhaps some information that she didn't even know about Opaline. Perhaps since that Opaline had told her one version of the story, how how the magic was vanished at the time, how the crystal was separated. She was told one side of the story from Sunny, and then Misty told her the story, the version of what she had been told from Opaline. So what if that Misty overhears the main five is what they read about Opaline, the true story about, and the question in her mind's like conflict if she should even believe anything that's like everything that Opaline had told me about her past and the story how she was stripped of her magic from Twilight was false. All that stories was made up, and that May even considered her to join forces, to join side with the Sunny, and May even reveal that she knows a lot more about Opaline, and that in fact Opaline is the one has been raising her, and that she had actually also been forced to find a way to help Opaline to give back the magic or the powers that she had been waiting for so long. I mean, this idea itself for the next chapter of just chapter 3 is um is considering is um it's just considering that is actually not a bad idea. Um, so having Opaline betrayed by Misty, this is only a matter of time before it happened. There is actually have been some hints that Misty might even leave Opaline. Because Opaline had promised her so many times when the magic was back that she will help her to find her true purpose, her true special talent to give her cue mark. I was like, okay. And since that Opaline raised her alone, since she found Misty as a filly somewhere in the woods, okay, that's a nice touch. That's a nice gesture how she raised Opaline, that she raised Misty. But at the same time, Opaline almost like brainwashed Misty in believing the version of story how she thought how that Twilight was scared of Opaline and how she was stripped the magic from her. And when Misty heard the story, or at least the version of Sunny told during this Christmas special, I was like, that's no real. And if the Misty, or what if that the main five finds out who the Twilight tried to warn them about the name Opaline, and they wonder if there's anything about if there's any mentioning about Opaline in somewhere of the mass of extensive research that Sunny's father had done in the past. If there's a big good chance that may contain some information that what Sunny's father may have found out about Opaline and wrote down about it, it's a good chance. I mean, considering that he'd done a lot of research. So if there are a good chance, so any indication that might contain any information of Opaline, it's a very, very good chance it do. So if they are trying to read out some information about Opaline, and what if Misty is either overhearing it outside the lighthouse, or or if she's actually inside the lighthouse and helping them with this research, and she finds out what her Sunny's father found out about Opaline, all that the past events, which and the story, or the version of the story where Opaline told Misty was completely fake fabricated. That wasn't even real. But the story that Sunny told was the real one. So, question is, what is what will go through Misty's mind? Well, she will start to question of her loyalty towards Opaline. Like the promise that Opaline would have gonna help Misty to get her cutie mark. But based on how Opaline has been treated, Misty over time, I really doubt it. In one of the scenes from the Netflix series, how Misty went to her room crying. What if Opaline had no attention to help Misty to get her cutie mark whatsoever? And that she only is using Misty in a way to get uh, the magic for herself. That was something that I would consider that Opaline would even do. It's like Opaline using only taking advantage of Misty so that she could get the magic for herself. Not a really much as unlike scenario. I mean, like I said, if Misty after either overhearing about the research the main five is reading the about Opaline, or if she is actually helping them without knowing exactly what they're looking for, and if she finds out that they are researching about or looking for some info of Opaline among the books or the scrolls that her son is father had done, and if she finds out some information that even Opaline hadn't even told her about the past, yeah, that would have been something shocking. Is if Opaline finds out, or that Misty finds out all the things that Opaline had told her, especially the story of her being stripped off her magic, was fabricated, complete false, made up, like fairy tale. And that she started believing the story that Sunny told during this sleepover party was the real story, and that questioned her mind if she even should believe or even should help Opaline. I don't even know. That's a question. Opaline may have her own deepest desires to be the new ruler by dividing the country or the kingdom by fear and stopping the united society once again. I can't say for certain about it, but having that divided, I don't even know for certain what's going to happen. But it's really much having the vision, all that. And if Opaline is only taking advantage of Mrs. Help, willing help, and that she brainwashed her to believe every single thing that she's saying is the truth, and what she heard from others on, like, say, about the true history why the magic was gone was fake. That would have been showing of very much sociopathic behavior. But if it's true that if Misty is helping the main five in the research about Opaline, even though she doesn't even know exactly what they're reading about, even if they're just talking, and when they finally found one of the books contained the info about Opaline. And if Misty's heard all about this, and then she may start to question herself, all the things that Opaline had told her, especially that story about how she lost her magic, if that was even real, or if that was completely fabricated, just made up. She started to wonder what else had Opaline lied about, or how much she had been telling me was a lie. I mean, I can understand that Misty might be just devastated, learning that all the things that Opaline had been telling her was complete fake. Even the kind of main story, how she lost the magic that Twilight was afraid of her because she was an Alicon queen and that she was the rightful ruler, not Twilight. Yeah, I can only imagine now how fearful Misty can feel. Like realizing maybe that Opaline raised her, brainwashed her to make her believe every single word. And if she had heard any other versions of any other things, was fake. And realizing how much that all kinds of things that Opaline told Misty to do in order to get Sparky's dragon fire, or to find other magical artifacts, or maybe find a way to get her restore her magic again. I don't even believe that she realized that all those things was that she was taking advantage of her willingness, her kindness. But there was another main question in Mrs. mind that was going like, what if that the promise that Opaline had made me to help me to get my cure mark was never even attention? What if she did not want to help me to get my cure mark at all, only just using me as a tool in order way for her to get her magic once restored? If that was one, if that was the possibility as true, I had no idea. I mean, what if that went true? Question is, would Misty even go back to the castle and to confront Opaline? Even though the Opaline doesn't even have much of her former magic anymore, but she still may be able to do things to stop Misty to warn the main five about Opaline's plans. Unless, unless Opaline has never been informed about her confronted by Misty. But what if that Misty destroys um, that since Misty was given this type of necklace from Opaline, so that she can summon or at least talk to Opaline, even not know that she is physically at the castle. What if she destroys that necklace and then informs the main five all about Opaline and her involvements with Opaline? That would have been something that would shock them. But the thing is also, if they even there is always two things about that. One, if they even believe anything about that, or two, how they would even react to that, or if they could even trust her anymore. What if they decide that if those information that she's been telling them is real, if they even could trust her anymore afterwards? That is a big good question. Having this information that every single information that the main five had done, and some of the things that Opaline had made Misty doing in the backs behind the scenes in order to get more magic for Opaline to get powerful again. The question is if the main five would even had could ever trust Misty ever again. Misty would probably understand that they could not, that even if they believe her, but they could not trust her anymore because they had that she had betrayed their trust. And I wonder how Misty or how um um how Issy will feel, since Issy was the one who's actually um was the one who who found and introduced Misty to her friends of the main five. So the question is, if the Misty finds out the truth behind all this, that Opaline Opalin's version of the story when she told at the sleepover party was completely fabricated, meaning that all the story was fake, and the story version that Sunny told was real. Um, yeah, Cody, it's possible that the main fight could be the new elements of harmony, except for one detail. The elements are destroyed. They were smashed into pieces by Sombra. But it's possible that simply as that Opaline lied to Misty. But if she finds out about it, she had no idea if she can ever trust Opaline anymore. And if she do try to inform the main five about Opaline's plans and how much she is herself involved in that, and that she feels regretful and that she doesn't want to do that anymore. And well, the other those question is how or if the main five would believe any of that. But if they do believe her, the other of those question is if they could ever trust her ever again. If, despite this revelation that she did for the main five, if they ever could even believe any of the stories ever again. That's the question. Even I don't even know the true answer to that. It's it's hard to say. But assuming if that is a possibility that could happen, maybe not in G chapter 3, maybe as a chapter 4. It's well, that also depends if how many chapters is going to be in the first season. But you don't have no idea on that yet. Since it's going to be 24 episodes total, or 22, I don't remember exactly. But so far, it's only 8 episodes have been released. So the mystery about what's going to happen is, like I said, a mystery. But the things that I talked about, how things could eventually could happen, is a good possibility. But right now, it's a theory, an idea, a proposal, or as people say, it just simply a theory. But that's all for that. And yeah, I know what else to do about that, but since the G5 is still far away, way far from over to being over for this first season. And if the Hasbro and Atomic Cartoons, which is the producer, what is the maker of this new version of this G5, if it's going to be a second season, who knows? Because this is a new approach. Because G4, they were never had chapters. They only had one complete season. So all we can do now is wait to see what will happen in this next season or in the next chapter. Well, there has been 2 hours and almost 4 minutes. I think it's about time here to end the stream. Um, yeah, Cody, we don't even know if Spike will even appear in G5, but it's a good, I mean, it's a good opportunity, a good chance that it could happen. But right now, it's too early to say though. It's possible that he could appear in G5. Who knows? Maybe not. He is not okay. If Spike doesn't appear in this first season, okay, okay, Cody, I probably this scenario is. I'm sure you will love this ending scenario. You remember Kung Fu Panda 2 when this secret Panda Valley was revealed near the end. What if that we know that we saw that male panda turns out to be Poe's father, and that he showed up in Kung Fu Panda 3. What if, let's say, what if that kind of scenario happened in G4, G5? Except, what if that Spike is sitting in his cave, and that even though that he is aware that magic has returned, and that he is either is what if he has been giving a message, or he has this feeling that he needs to go back to Equestria, and that he is searching, and by the end of the next, by the end of, or not end, but by what if by the start of the second season is that Spike is showed up at Maritime Bay, knocks on the door to the lighthouse, and that Sunny probably knows who he is already by this appearance. That he is probably maybe a little bit taller than he were by the end of G4, and that he has decided that he wants to be there for her, help her, maybe to be the new guidance or the guider or the guide for Sunny and her friends, maybe even to be maybe like a adopted father, or no, other adopted uncle or brother towards Sparky, to teach him how to be as a dragon. Perhaps he could maybe with move in with them and help Hitch in order to raise a dragon. That's possibility, that at least. Um, having Spike being voiced by Elijah Wood, are you ever wait? Are you referring to the guy from the Lord of the Rings who played Frodo? Yeah, not bad choice. Or maybe that he's voiced by Jack Black, the one who's made the voice for Poe from Kung Fu Panda. Perhaps also could have been working. Um, yeah. So yeah, I think it is about time to end the stream here. So um, wow, 2 hours almost and 8 minutes. Yeah. I will do a stream tomorrow. Um, but I'm not so sure how all of my friends will be able to join in, since you guys in America are celebrating Christmas on the 25th. So, oh, you had to work on Christmas? Ouch. I'm glad that never happened to me, though. Whoosh. I wouldn't be forgive myself if that happened to me, but uh oh, that's good though. It needs to happen to open your presents before them. That's a good thing. Well, who knows? Let's see what you get this year. Well, um, but yeah, um, yeah. I hope that everyone else has been watching this stream so far, and that even watch after the stream is over. That that everyone has a good time, and yeah, so far there's only me, Game Guy, Crystal Chan, Brony Dreamer, and Cody was here. Yeah, so hopefully maybe tomorrow that some other my friends could join in. Who knows? If well, that depends of if they can. But assuming that's Game Guy may not be even possible to join in, since he's going to travel around to different families tomorrow. But I don't know. So this has been a good time. So this has been Switch Diablo signing off. Bye.